Part 1. The Pain of Authorship. You believe that you are the one who thinks your thoughts. But what if you're not? What if you are merely the one who hears them? The secret we are about to share will change everything you thought you knew about your own mind. If you are exhausted from the secret shame of your own inner world, if you feel like a prisoner to the voice in your head, then you have found the key to your cell. This is not about fighting your thoughts. It is about understanding their true nature. Subscribe to the hidden voice and prepare for a profound and lasting peace. Let's begin by acknowledging the terrible weight you have been carrying. The weight of authorship. From a very young age, you were taught a fundamental and powerful lie, that you are the thinker of your thoughts. And because you believe this, you have had to take responsibility for every single, strange and chaotic thing that has ever drifted through your mind. This has been a source of profound and secret suffering. It is the shame you feel when a bad thought appears. A sudden, unbidden flash of anger towards someone you love. A strange and disturbing image that seems to come from nowhere. A jealous or resentful thought that feels petty and ugly. And in the second that it appears, the judgment follows. What kind of person thinks like that? There must be something dark and twisted inside of me. You have taken the random firing of a neuron and turned it into a verdict on your soul. It is the terror you feel when a catastrophic thought arises. The vivid, detailed image of a plane crash before you travel. The obsessive, what-if scenario about your health or the safety of your family. You believe that because you thought it, it must hold some special meaning. That it is a premonition, or a sign of some deep, underlying truth. You take these thoughts personally, and so they have the power to torment you, to hold you hostage with fear. And it is the sheer exhaustion that comes from trying to be a good thinker. You have spent years of your life acting as the thought police inside your own head. You try to suppress the negative thoughts, to wrestle them into submission. You try to force positive thoughts, to play a desperate game of covering the darkness with a thin veneer of light. You are in a constant, unwinnable war with yourself, because you believe you are the commander who is responsible for the behavior of every single, unruly soldier in your mind's vast and chaotic army. The entire weight of this struggle rests on that one, single, unexamined assumption. These thoughts are mine. I am their author. And therefore, they are a direct reflection of who I am. This belief, more than any other, is the source of the inner war. And today, we are going to dismantle it. Part 2. The Secret Revealed. Now, I want you to take a breath, and to listen with a mind that is as open as you can make it. We are about to reveal the secret. This is not a metaphor. This is not a clever philosophy. This is the simple, observable truth of your own experience. The great secret is this. Most of the thoughts that arise in your awareness are not yours. They are not personal. You are not their author. You are not their creator. You are simply the space in which they appear. You are the audience, not the actor. To understand this, we must make a crucial distinction. There are two very different kinds of thought. The first kind is deliberate thinking. This is thinking on purpose. It is when you consciously choose to use your mind as a tool. When you decide to solve a math problem, or to plan a grocery list, or to design a house. In these moments, you are the one directing the process. This type of thinking is focused, linear, and makes up a very, very small percentage of your daily mental activity. The second kind is the automatic thought stream. This is the other 99%. This is the endless, random, and chaotic chatter of the mind when it is left to its own devices. The radio station that is always playing in the background of your life. The fragments of old songs, the snippets of past conversations, the worries about the future, the judgments, the opinions, the fantasies. The secret applies to this second kind of thought. This endless stream of mental noise is not personal. It is not your fault. It is a biological and collective process that is simply happening, and you just happen to be the one who is aware of it. Your thoughts are like the weather. They are impersonal events that arise and pass away in the vast, open space of your consciousness. A dark, angry thought is like a thunderstorm. It is not a reflection of the character of the sky. The sky is not a bad sky because a storm is passing through it. The sky is simply the space that allows the storm to be. Your thoughts are like the sounds of a busy city. You sit in your apartment, and you can hear the traffic, the sirens, the distant conversations. You are the one who hears the sounds, but you are not the one making them. You do not take the sound of a passing siren personally. You do not believe that the angry driver shouting outside your window is a reflection of your own inner state. You recognize it as an impersonal event. The secret is to learn to relate to your own thoughts with this same, sane, impersonal detachment. They are not you. They are not from you. They are simply the background noise of the human condition, passing through the open, silent space of who you truly are. The war ends the moment you stop taking the weather personally. Part 3. The practice of impersonal listening. This secret cannot remain a concept. It must become your lived reality. You must prove its truth to yourself through direct experience. Let's do a short, simple experiment in impersonal listening. Find your quiet space. And for the next 60 seconds, I want you to give up one activity, the activity of thinking. And I want you to take up a new one, the activity of listening. You are not going to try and stop your thoughts. You are not going to judge them or change them. You are simply going to listen to the thoughts that arise in your mind with the same detached curiosity you might have while listening to a random radio station you've just tuned into. You are the listener. The thoughts are just the broadcast. So, for the next minute, just listen. Now, what did you notice? First, you likely noticed that the thoughts just kept coming, even though you weren't deliberately creating them. They just appeared. This is the first proof. The thinking process is largely an automatic, background process, like your breathing or your heartbeat. Second, what was the content of the broadcast? Was it a profound, original, and deeply personal monologue? Or was it mostly repetitive noise? Perhaps you heard the news report station, with its endless loop of worries about the future and regrets about the past. Perhaps you heard the oldies station, playing the same 3 memories from your childhood over and over again. Perhaps it was the shopping channel, with its list of things to do, to buy, to fix. If you are truly honest, you will notice that the broadcast is stunningly impersonal and repetitive. It is a collection of old programming, of cultural soundbites, of biological survival urges. There is very little that is truly yours in there at all. And third, and this is the most important part of the discovery, who was it that was listening? The thoughts were the noisy broadcast. But you were the silent listening presence in which the broadcast was happening. The radio was playing, but you are the quiet room. The fact that you can hear the thought proves that you are not the thought. There is the thought, and then there is the awareness of the thought. And they are not the same thing. You have spent your entire life identified with the noisy, chaotic, and impersonal broadcast on the radio. The secret is to shift your identity, your sense of self, to the silent, peaceful, and ever-present listener. The war is not about changing the radio station. The war is about realizing you are not the radio, you are the room. Part 4. The lineage of liberation. This radical and liberating secret, that your thoughts are not personal, is not a new idea. It is the golden key that has been offered by the great masters of non-duality and the mystics of all traditions for thousands of years. You have not stumbled upon a modern psychological trick, you have stumbled upon the very heart of spiritual liberation. The great Indian sage of the 20th century, Nisargadatta Maharaj, taught this with a fiery and uncompromising clarity. People would come to him, consumed by their personal problems, their fears, their stories of suffering. And he would, again and again, point them back to this one, single truth. He said, "The mind is a flow of thoughts on the screen of consciousness. The thoughts appear and disappear. See the screen, not the thoughts." This is the entire practice in a nutshell. We suffer because we are hypnotized by the movie playing on the screen. We believe we are the characters in the drama, and so we feel their pain, their fear, their joy. The master does not try to change the movie. The master has simply shifted their attention from the flickering images on the screen to the screen itself, the vast, empty, and untouched awareness that is their true nature. The thoughts, the images, the stories, they are not the problem. Your belief in them is the problem. Your habit of taking them personally is the problem. The contemporary spiritual teacher Adyashanti speaks of this with a gentle and modern voice. He calls the automatic thought stream the trance of thinking. He teaches that we are all, to varying degrees, in a state of self-hypnosis, completely identified with the voice in our head, believing its incessant and often fearful monologue to be the truth of who we are. Awakening, he says, is the moment you begin to wake up out of that trance. It is the moment you hear the voice in your head, and for the first time, you do not automatically believe it. You hear the thought, "I am not good enough," and instead of being crushed by it, a quiet space of awareness notices, "Ah, there is the thought, I am not good enough. How interesting." That space, that moment of not believing, is the beginning of all freedom. This is the great liberation that the mystics have always pointed to. The freedom from the tyranny of the self-referential mind. To realize that your thoughts are impersonal events is to be released from the terrible burden of having to be their author. You no longer have to feel ashamed of your bad thoughts or terrified of your scary thoughts. You can see them for what they are, impersonal weather patterns, passing through the vast, open sky of your own being. They are not a reflection of your character. They are a reflection of the human condition. And you are free. Part 5. The Parable of the Dreamer and the Dream Characters. To fully grasp the impersonal nature of your thoughts, let's use a powerful and intimate metaphor. The metaphor of a dream. Every night, you go to sleep, and your consciousness creates a world. In this dream world, all sorts of characters appear. There is the you character, the protagonist from whose perspective you experience the dream. And then there are other characters. A wise old woman who offers you guidance. A terrifying monster who chases you. A long-lost friend who speaks with a familiar voice. These characters speak. They have dialogues. The monster growls, "I'm going to get you." The wise woman whispers, "The key is in your pocket." While you are in the dream, fully identified with your dream self, you take these dialogues very seriously. You believe the monster. You feel the terror. You react. You run. The thoughts that arise in your waking life are the dialogue of these dream characters. The voice of your inner critic? It is just a dream monster, growling its familiar, frightening lines. The voice of your anxiety. It is another dream character, whispering catastrophic prophecies in your ear. The voice of your intuition. It is the wise old woman, offering her quiet guidance. While you are in the waking dream, fully identified with your ego self, you believe this dialogue is real and personal. You believe the monster. You argue with the critic. You are a character, reacting to other characters. But what happens the moment you wake up? The moment you awaken from the dream, you have a profound realization. You realize, oh, none of that was real. And in that same instant, you realize something even more profound. You were not just the me character in the dream. You were the entire dream. You were the monster. You were the wise woman. You were the landscape. You were the silent, dreaming consciousness in which the entire play, with all its characters and all their dialogues, appeared. The words of the monster were not yours in a personal sense. They were just an impersonal script that arose within the dream you were creating. You, the dreamer, are not a bad person because a monster appeared in your dream. This is the secret. Your waking life is a kind of dream, and the thoughts that pass through your mind are the impersonal dialogue of the dream characters. The Great Awakening is the moment you stop identifying with the character, the ego, and you realize your true nature as the dreamer, the vast, silent, and creative consciousness that is dreaming the whole thing into being. When the thought, "you are a failure," arises in your mind, you can now recognize it. Ah, that is the voice of the inner critic, a familiar dream character. How interesting! But I am not the character he is talking to. I am the dreamer, who is aware of both the critic and the one being criticized. In this recognition, the thought loses all of its power over you. Its words become like the forgotten dialogue from last night's dream, an echo without substance, a shadow without reality. You are no longer a character, tossed about by the drama of the script. You are the peaceful, silent dreamer, watching the play with a gentle, knowing smile. Part 6. Where do thoughts come from? You have accepted the secret. Your thoughts are not personal. But the logical mind might still ask, if I am not creating them, then where do they come from? To truly dismantle the illusion of authorship, it is helpful to understand the three primary, impersonal sources of the thought stream. The first source is biological. Modern neuroscience has identified what it calls the default mode network, DMN, in the brain. Think of this as your brain's screensaver. When you are not actively engaged in a focused external task, this network automatically switches on. Its job is to sift through old memories, to connect them to potential future scenarios, and to maintain a coherent story of self. It is a biological survival mechanism, an automated process. The thoughts that bubble up from the DMN, the random worries, the old memories, the future plans, are not being personally authored by you. They are the result of an evolutionary software program running on the hardware of your brain. They are as impersonal as your stomach gurgling. The second source is collective. As the psychologist Carl Jung discovered, beneath our personal unconscious, there lies a collective unconscious, a shared, psychic inheritance of all humanity. It is a field of archetypal energies, myths, and symbols. Many of the thoughts, feelings, and images that arise within you do not originate in your personal life story. They are bubbles, rising up from this vast, collective ocean. A sudden, inexplicable sadness could be you momentarily tuning into the grief of the world. A powerful, archetypal image in a dream could be a message from this collective field. You are not a sealed container. You are a sensitive receiver, and you are constantly picking up on the broadcasts of the human psyche at large. These thoughts are not yours. They are ours. The third source is conditioning. Most of the thoughts that you believe are your own are simply echoes. They are recordings of your parents, your teachers, your culture, the media. The inner critic that tells you you're not good enough, is that really your original thought, or is it the replayed recording of a critical parent or a demanding teacher? The thought that worries about scarcity, is that your authentic present moment assessment, or is it the echo of your ancestors who lived through wars and famines? You are not the thinker of these thoughts. You are a living library, and the books are simply talking to each other. Biology, the collective, and conditioning. When you truly see this, the illusion of personal authorship collapses. You realize that your mind is less like a throne room where a sovereign you issues commands, and more like a busy train station, where all sorts of thoughts, passengers from all over the world, are simply arriving, waiting, and departing. And you are not one of the passengers. You are the quiet, spacious, and peaceful station itself. Part 7. Rituals for de-personalization. To make this liberating secret your lived and moment-to-moment reality, you need to practice. You must train your mind to break the ancient hypnotic habit of taking its own thoughts personally. These are the practical rituals of de-personalization. The first ritual is to change your language. Language creates reality. The way you speak to yourself about your thoughts either reinforces the illusion of authorship or helps to dismantle it. This is a simple but profoundly effective practice. Your old language was, I am thinking that I'm going to fail. This language fuses your identity, I, with the thought, thinking. Your new practice is to consciously change this internal language. When you notice a thought, you will frame it like this: a thought has arisen which says that I am going to fail. Or, even more simply, there is a thought about failing. Feel the difference. This simple linguistic shift creates an immediate space. It reframes the thought from a personal declaration of your identity into an impersonal event that you are observing. You are not the thinker. You are the one who is aware of a thought. You are not the author. You are the reader. Practice this simple reframing consistently, and you will begin to sever the deep, hypnotic link between you and the chatter in your mind. The second ritual is to treat it with humor. The ego takes itself and its thoughts with a deadly seriousness. One of the most powerful ways to break the spell of thought is to treat the automatic thought stream with a light and humorous detachment. When a particularly strange, dark, or catastrophic thought appears out of nowhere, your old habit was to be horrified by it. Oh my God, what does it mean that I just thought that? Your new practice is to meet it with the amused attitude of someone watching a bizarre piece of performance art. You can say to yourself, internally, with a sense of playful curiosity, "Thank you, brain. That's a very creative suggestion. Duly noted." Or, "Well, that was a random piece of data from the collective unconscious. Interesting." By refusing to take the thought seriously, you refuse to give it your power. You are treating it like a slightly eccentric and harmless guest in your house. You are not trying to kick it out, which would be a form of resistance. You are simply smiling at its strangeness, and then returning your attention to what is real. Humor is a powerful solvent that can dissolve the glue of your own self-importance, which is the very thing that makes thoughts feel so heavy. The third ritual is the "whose voice is this?" inquiry. This is a powerful investigative practice for breaking the spell of your most stubborn, repetitive, and painful thoughts, especially the voice of the inner critic. When a strongly charged, familiar, negative thought arises, for example, the thought, "you are not good enough," you will pause. And instead of believing it, you will become a detective. You will ask, with genuine curiosity, "Whose voice is this, really?" And then listen. Is it your mother's voice? Your father's? Is it the voice of a teacher from your childhood who shamed you? Is it the voice of an ex-partner? Is it the voice of the advertising culture that tells you that you are fundamentally lacking? Your practice is to trace the thought back to its impersonal, conditioned source. When you can say, "Ah, that's not me. That is the echo of my father's anxiety," the thought immediately loses its personal charge. It is no longer your authentic, present-moment truth. It is just an old recording, playing on a loop. By consistently tracing these thoughts back to their origin, you begin to see the truth. Your mind is not a single entity. It is a chorus of ghosts. And you are not one of the ghosts. You are the silent, spacious, and living presence that hears their song. Part 8. The True Nature of Free Will. This secret of the impersonal nature of thought often leads to a deep and important question. If I am not the thinker of my thoughts, then do I have any free will at all? Am I just a puppet of biology and conditioning? This is where we must make the most important distinction of all. You have been looking for free will in the wrong place. You have believed that free will is the power to control which thoughts appear in your mind. And because you have discovered, through frustrating experience, that this is impossible, you may have concluded that free will is an illusion. But this is a misunderstanding. The arising of thoughts is, for the most part, an automatic process. You have very little control over what bubbles up from the great ocean of consciousness. Your true free will, your one, great, and sovereign power, lies in where you choose to place your attention. Thoughts are like clouds, drifting through the sky of your awareness. You cannot control the clouds. You cannot stop them from coming, or change their shape. But you have the absolute power to choose which cloud you will focus on. You can choose to place your attention on the dark, stormy cloud of a fearful thought, to follow it, to believe it, to build a story around it. And if you do, your inner world will become dark and stormy. Or you can choose to let that dark cloud drift by, and to place your attention instead on the vast, open blue sky of your own silent presence. Or on the gentle, fluffy white cloud of a grateful thought. This is your power. This is your free will. Not to be the author of the thoughts, but to be the editor of your own awareness. The thoughts themselves are powerless. They are just ephemeral bursts of energy. They only gain power when you lend them the power of your attention and your belief. You are the one who decides which thoughts get to become real for you. So, you are not a puppet. You are the king or queen of your own inner kingdom. And the thoughts are like the many courtiers and messengers who come to your throne room every day. Some are wise. Some are foolish. Some are fearful. Some are brave. You cannot stop them from arriving at your door. But you, and you alone, have the power to decide which messenger you will listen to, which advisor you will trust, and which one you will simply thank and allow to pass on their way. This is the great and liberating work of a conscious life. Part 9. The Great Liberation. And now we arrive at the Great Liberation, the profound and joyful release that this secret offers. For your entire life, you have been carrying an impossibly heavy burden. The burden of authorship. The burden of taking personal credit and personal blame for a process that is as automatic and impersonal as the beating of your own heart. The shame you have felt for your dark thoughts, the fear you have felt from your catastrophic thoughts, the exhaustion you have felt from trying to control your mind. All of it, 100% of it, was born from the simple, tragic, and deeply ingrained misunderstanding that you were the thinker. The climax of this journey is the moment you see through this illusion with an unshakable clarity. It is the moment, often accompanied by a great sigh of relief, or even a sudden burst of laughter, when you finally and truly get it, in your bones. Oh, I'm not the one who is doing all this. I'm the one who is witnessing it. In that single moment of recognition, the entire war is over. How can you be at war with something that is not personal? How can you feel ashamed of a thought that you recognize as just an impersonal piece of cultural conditioning? How can you be afraid of a thought that you see as just a random firing of your brain's biological survival software? You can't. The moment you see the thought as impersonal, it loses all of its power to create suffering. It becomes like the sound of the wind, or the pattern of the rain on a window. It is just an event, an appearance, a harmless and ephemeral phenomenon, passing through the vast, open, and untouched space of who you truly are. This is not a state you have to achieve. It is a truth you simply have to recognize. It has been true all along. You have just been hypnotized into believing otherwise. The immense energy that you have been expending your entire life, policing your own mind, trying to be a good thinker, is now liberated. You can finally put down that impossible and exhausting job. You are not the manager of the thought factory. You are not responsible for its chaotic and often shoddy output. Your only responsibility, your only true power, is to rest as the silent, peaceful awareness that is aware of it all. You are not the voice in your head. You are the silence that hears it. And in that silence is a peace that the thinking mind can never, ever touch. Part 10. The Peace of the Silent Listener. So we come to the end of the secret, and the beginning of a new way of living. The goal is not to have a silent mind. For as long as you have a human brain, there will be thoughts. The weather will continue to happen. The radio will continue to play. The goal is to have a peaceful relationship with your mind. The goal is to no longer be at war with the weather. The great peace you have been seeking is not found in winning the inner war. It is found in the realization that there was never a war to begin with. There was only a profound misunderstanding. You were not a soldier fighting a battle. You were a dreamer, arguing with your own dream characters. And now, you are waking up. So, let this be your new practice. A practice of relaxation, of letting go, of profound and gentle disidentification. When the storm of an old, painful thought pattern rolls in, you no longer have to brace for impact. You can simply watch it, from the safe and peaceful vantage point of the sky, knowing that this, too, shall pass. When the annoying, repetitive jingle of a worry thought gets stuck in your head, you no longer have to fight it. You can smile, with a gentle, humorous detachment, and simply allow the radio to play its silly song, knowing that you are not the song. You are the silence that the song appears in. You are not the thinker. You are the listening presence. You are not the author. You are the spacious awareness. This is the truth. And in this truth is the end of all your suffering. This quiet, spacious freedom is your true nature. It has been here all along. If this journey has helped you to finally hear the silence beneath the noise, to remember who you are, then help us share this liberating secret. Subscribe to The Hidden Voice. Like and share this message. Every interaction you make helps another soul to wake up from the trance of thinking and to come home to the profound and lasting peace of their own silent awareness. Thank you for your courage to listen. Now go and enjoy the peace of knowing that the voice in your head is not you. You are the silence that is listening. And you are finally free.